begin with our nation's anthem. So please, as you are able, stand and turn to face the flag that's proudly posted over the Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial and join the band under the direction of Ken Olson. Thank you. I do have a quick weather update in case y'all were wondering. It's about 68 degrees. The meteorologists say there's a 2% chance of rain. So I hope you brought your umbrellas. Exactly, that's right. Well, we do have an evening, it's gonna be beautiful tonight, it's a fabulous night. We have an evening of patriotic music for you, patriotic in different styles. Of course, one of the most magnificent and recognizable styles is the march. There were so many written, and are still being written, by so many composers, but experts like to highlight a specific triad of magnificent marches. E. Bailey's National Emblem, John Philip Sousa, the March King, he had Stars and Stripes Forever, and the completion of that terrific triad is Henry Fillmore's famous Americans We March. He dedicated that piece, in fact, to all of us. So, now, under the direction of Lindsay Bogatz, please enjoy Americans We. Okay, who remembers 1976? Do you remember what you were doing? I do. I was at Papillon Junior High, marching for a one Ken Molzer. Sometimes I was in step, and once it's rumored I was in tune. But I think those are fond memories. But more importantly, I guess, that's the year that we had the bicentennial, right? Country celebrated its 200th birthday. To commemorate that milestone, the state of Nebraska commissioned 8 modern pieces of art for motorists to enjoy. They are at select area rest stops along Interstate 80, transforming one of America's great transportation corridors into an outdoor art gallery. It's named Nebraska's 500-mile sculpture garden. Now, one of the sculptures, named Memorial to the American Bandshell, is located at the Ashland Rest Area, not far from here. It's on the eastbound side of I-80, just on the other side of the Platte River from here. It's a powerful symbol of how public art and band music have historically shared common civic spaces and purposes. This year, in fact, the Nebraska for the Arts organization commissioned a musical piece for bands meant to honor that combination of arts with community bands. It's something that actually we've been doing with the Papillon Area Community Band, concert band, for a long time. It's way ahead of the curve. You see, next year, Pac Band is going to celebrate 40 years of making music in our community. That's just remarkable. Yeah. All right, so back to the sculptures, right? We mentioned the sculptures for a reason. 7 of the original 8 are still around. They are, if you go east to west, the Memorial to the American Bandshell near Ashland, one called Arrival near Seward and Milford exit, Crossing the Plains at York. There's the very controversial Irma's Desire at Grand Island. You're gonna have to look that one up yourself. Nebraska Wind at Kearney, Nebraskan Gateway at Brady, and Up and Over at Ogallala. The 8th, called Roadway Confluence, or as many called it, the Bionic Bunny, was removed 15 years ago after it was damaged by wind. However, there is an effort to rebuild it and put it back. All right, so what's all that have to do with tonight's concert? I'm glad you asked. Nolan Schmidt. All right, yeah, Nolan Schmidt. You may know him as the voice of the Cornhusker Marching Band. He's also a composer and band director in the Lincoln Public Schools system. He's also captured the music of the bandshell. So listen, as we take a tour across Nebraska, viewing the sculptures of Nebraska's 500-mile sculpture garden, conducted by Ken Molzer. Okay, next on the program is a blending of American folk melodies in Shenandoah-like moving harmonies that will transition into lively cowboy tunes. Get that in your head, because it might just remind you of the celebrations and dances of the Old West. It's all captured in Carl Stroman's Cumberland Cross. Back again to conduct the band, Lindsay Bodens. Director Steven Spielberg and composer John Williams have collaborated on various projects for more than 50 years. They've teamed up on 29 films, including one of the most emotionally powerful and charged war movies. Experts, including veterans, say Saving Private Ryan has gripping, realistic views of the horrors of World War II. Well, in Williams' scoring of this movie, he includes a poignant piece to respect those who've sacrificed their lives for our freedoms. Here now is Hymn to the Fallen from Saving Private Ryan. Okay, our next march is one of those top 3 patriotic marches mentioned at the beginning of the concert. Called National Emblem, E. Bagley's song is widely used in the United States for patriotic events like Independence Day celebrations, also used by the military during presentation and retirement of colors. Well, this march is notable because Bagley incorporates a theme from the Star-Spangled Banner in the first strain, and then in the trio section he features a forceful, repeated note figure observing the herds of buffalo on the western prairies. Got it? Okay, see if you can hear those 2 parts of the march in E. Bagley's National Emblem. Okay, featured in this patriotic celebration concert of our country's 250th birthday is a pack band favorite. It's called Lincoln Legacy. It incorporates words from Abraham Lincoln's State of the Union address, from the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and from Lincoln's incredible Gettysburg Address. A personal note, my wife and I just visited the Gettysburg battlefield last month. We stood in the spot where it's believed Lincoln delivered that brief but eternal commented speech. The mood there, solemn. The ground hallowed, even still 163 years later. So here now, the words of President Abraham Lincoln in Michael Sweeney's Lincoln Legacy, conducted by Ken Moser. Kentucky, lived in Illinois, was raised in Indiana. And this is what he said. This is what Abraham Lincoln said. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We of this Congress and this administration will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation. We, even we here, hold the power and bear the responsibility. Lincoln was a quiet man. Abraham Lincoln was a quiet and a melancholy man. When standing erect, he was 6 feet 4 inches tall. And this is what he said. It is the eternal struggle between the two principles of right and wrong throughout the world. It is the same spirit that says, you toil and work and earn bread, and I'll eat it, no matter in what shape it comes. Whether from the mouth of a king who seeks to bestride the people of his own nation and live by the fruit of their labor, or from one race of men as an apology for enslaving another race. It is the same tyrannical principle. When he spoke of democracy, this is what he said. He said, as I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. What differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is no democracy. President of our United States paid tribute to our fallen countrymen on the battlefield of Gettysburg with these immortal words. From these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not move from the earth.
Thank you, Rob. When he was a 7th grade student of mine, I had some questions about if he'd amount to anything, and I think that pretty well took care of it right there. Very, very proud of you. Rob, come on, take a ball. Rob McCarthy. First of all, I want to thank you for coming out to this special patriotic concert. Of course, we're celebrating 250 years, and we're going to continue celebrating that with the Pac Band. August 9th, we're going to have a concert right out here at 7:30. It's going to be called Saluting 250, Part 2. Okay? We didn't quite get through all the patriotic numbers we wanted to do, so we're going to be doing that in August. I want to thank also Doug Huggins and thanks to Kevin Coates and all the staff that work out here. Give them, they do a fantastic job here at campus. Thank you for doing that. I came on here a little after 5 o'clock. All the chairs are set up. I mean, a very efficient crew, so thank you so much. This is strictly a volunteer group behind me, all volunteer. You just drop it on the sky. And we have a rehearsal, and we have a board of directors that helps with the establishment of having some organization of this group. And last Tuesday, I looked at the roster, and I'm saying, you know, you're part of a very historic event. This is the most people we've ever had in the Pac Band right here. Incredible bunch of musicians that just like playing their instruments, and when they share with an audience, that's even so much the better. I want to thank Sam Lawson. Sam's here doing some video recording here. He's got cameras all over, and this is going to be on YouTube sometime. So Sam Lawson, wherever you are with the camera, thank you so much for there he is back there. Thank you for your video. Also like to thank Mayor Black's here. Mayor Black, good. Mayor, he's our lame duck mayor right now. So and Renee, thank you for being here. And give Mayor Black a big hand. He's helped me a lot. Thank you, Mayor. I'm just looking through here. We, like you say, we don't charge the band anything. We just do it by donations. And we have a large can back there, and usually we're really happy if the can gets filled up after every concert. So if you'd like to donate to the Pac Band, we'd be very, very appreciative of what you give there. I want to also thank co-director Lindsay Bogas as we're working towards our 40th year next year. Lindsay and I are co-directing, and next year we're going to be celebrating 40 years of the Pac Band. So Lindsay, come on and take a think about wonderful director with a great job. Thank you very much. I think with that, we're going to go on to our next number. We've been debating on what we should play as far as patriotic numbers. So there's a number of folk tunes and things that they would like doing. So I'll turn the rest of the program back to it. See, did Rob leave already? Oh, here he is. Okay, Mr. Rob McCarthy.
Okay, so we're going to go on with music. The arrangement of An American Celebration begins with the pre-Revolutionary War version of Yankee Doodle, used of course by fife and drum corps. You've heard it. Although the tune is English in origin, it became, as you know, an American victory tune during the Revolutionary War. Ken remembers that. Now, that was the only one. That I swear. The only one. And you were so nice to me earlier. I apologize. So, the things you want to say on the live mic, right? No, okay. Now, this is a medley, and other folk tunes are included, like Bound for the Promised Land, Shenandoah, and When Johnny Comes Marching Home. There are also excerpts from several other folk songs that were popular before our country's birth and remain a part of the music sung and performed throughout our history. So here's Ann McGinty's An American Celebration, conducted by the inimitable Ken Molson. thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate the 250th birthday of our country in song. 250 years. You know, we're just scratching the surface tonight with that music. So we invite you to come back here to Sumter for Saluting 250 Part 2. Get your calendars out. It's going to be 7:30 the night of Sunday, August 9th. Yep, more patriotic music, special presentation. I want you to join us August 9th. I'm going to make some calls and see if we can get a repeat of the weather, because that's pretty nice. You're going to be here? I will be here. That's okay. Well, I think so. We have witnesses. Yes. Okay, we want to wrap up tonight's concert with a chance for you all to be part of the music. And I'd like to invite Chuck, Uncle Sam Wilcox, to come out from our trombone section to lead us in a patriotic sing-along. The words are in your program. So, Uncle Sam.
The glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed a faithful lightning from his terrible sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah, His truth is marching on. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the mountain plain. America, America, God shed His grace on you. I'm proud, like Edwin wonderful, from sea to shining You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, forever in peace we wave. You're the emblem of the land I know, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true on the red, white, and blue, every banner fills the ground. Every time the flames we forget, no other can hold the flag. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and how proud we stand and say. And the
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you August 9th.